This is fantastic. Well, Dan, it's really good to see you, man.
Likewise. Sorry, I was trying to hit record. Yeah, it's gosh, you know, I feel like we've had these times. It's like, oh, we'll like connect and be like, oh, we should do a podcast. We should go do a podcast, and then it's probably more my fault, honestly. But then it never happened. So I'm stoked to be chatting, man. I was also really inspired to talk to you as well because I just finished this guy here, Quick and the Dead.
Great book. Great book.
We got some Sean, Wildman, Sewell, Mountain Man, shout out.
Yeah, page 43. Oh, I love
43.
That. Yeah. Oh, have you heard the audiobook yet?
I have not.
Check this out.
Sean Sewell, a Colorado mountain man, was introduced to strong endurance protocols.
Yeah.
Frohardt, SFG.
That is my ringtone now. So
there are several programs on the strong endurance manual, but the two
that's great. I'm so glad you checked out Quick and the Dead. It's based off the strong endurance protocols that we talked about last time in person.
They're beautiful in their simplicity.
It's still playing the.
At first, I was not used to the added press time required in the program, but before long.
Oh, is it? Boom. All right. Funny.
Real quick for those for listeners, that was the wild man, the Russian wild man, Pavel Tatsulin. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Tatsulin. Yeah.
Tatsulin, which he's founded StrongFirst, and Sean's part of StrongFirst and has worked with Pavel. So it's that's in the strength and conditioning world. That's a big deal. So definitely check out the book we're talking about. It's called The Quick and the Dead. Mm-hmm. And I've actually just finished it and been kind of testing it out. So yeah, man.
Oh, that's super exciting. What protocols are you doing? Are you doing the 033, the swings and the push-ups?
I've been doing swings. I've actually, of course, in true Monkii form, I kind of hybridize. I've been doing swings and push-ups and then the snatches as well.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. That's where it's at. Snatches are so fun too. When done properly, of course. It's such an effective training protocol and so simple. And to your point, like, and I hope we talk about this, about you being a father and busy entrepreneur and like kind of greasing the groove and doing like micro workouts. And so this is like fantastic for that because you can do something really intense for 15 seconds and then take a few minute break and go check on the kiddo, or the kids and walk around the house and do stuff.
Right. I actually did on that note, I was doing squats yesterday and I just set a 5-minute timer. So I'd run in the garage real quick, bang out 5 reps, which, it takes 30 seconds max, run back in, and then you've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds of playtime, active recovery, and then you go do it again, and it's just a mindset thing. It's not like it's this rocket science. It's just a mindset and kind of just reframing your context and situation. So yeah. And reading this was super, super helpful as well.
I'm glad to hear that. Cause I know last time I saw you in person was at the Monkii office up there in Boulder, and we were talking briefly about it. And I'm glad it makes sense now too, because it is ridiculously simple and effective. The hardest concept for people to get over is all the additional rest. Like, what do you do? Like this blank space. You can do a lot in that blank space. You can get very creative, you don't have to just like go into that glycolytic zone all the time, where you're just getting crushed and you're feeling sore for days. I actually had Dr. Craig Marker on, and he did a lot of research. And so he would talk about the telomeres lengthening, like decreasing his actual physical age and increasing his resilience and stuff. It's really remarkable stuff. Training smart, right?
Oh, absolutely. I listened to that episode, by the way. Nice job.
Oh, cool. Thank you. He's a stud. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's like Brad Kearns. Like these are the guys that I get to like email back and forth. Like Brad just sent over plug to Brad Kearns, his masterful macadamia nut butter. I've already eaten a third of the jar this morning.
I just saw you post that on Instagram. How is that stuff, man?
So good. It is so good. Do you like macadamia nuts?
Yes.
I mean,
I do.
It's just basically a jar of macadamia nuts with maybe 3 other things in it. Let's see. Cashews, walnuts, coconut butter, cacao nibs, and more MCT oil.
Okay.
Yeah. Keto friendly, of course, if you're a keto person, or you just want a delicious, awesome, satisfying snack. So good.
Shout out to the wild man, Brad Kearns, Get Over Yourself podcast.
It's a fun episode, fun podcast. He's a great guy too. You should definitely connect with him.
Yeah, no, I've actually emailed with him a little bit, when he was talking about the carnivore stuff, and I've also emailed, because he was talking about the, what was it? I think it was DNA Fit. Was that the genetic testing that's kind of focused on athletic performance.
Oh, I don't know yet. I'll look into that. That's really cool.
Called DNA Fit, but he had a commercial for them. But he was talking about how, he was this endurance athlete and he was training this high volume of the slow, steady state. Mm-hmm. But when he got his kind of muscular profile back, he was tilted towards like power and strength, and how that, he was kind of like fighting his own genetics in his training. So I was curious how that knowledge would change. If you could go back in time, how would you have kind of done it differently from if you wanted to be good at endurance, but if you had this muscle profile, how would you change that? So,
good question.
Yeah. I still don't have like the perfect answer, but I suspect I'm actually in a similar situation. So, what's been working for me or what I've used, I guess, in the past has worked pretty well, actually, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, ask anybody that sees your profile. Aesthetically, it works very well for you too. Every time I'm going to talk Monkii Day, my wife's like, "Can you do it shirtless?" Oh, it is snowing today. So maybe not today, but in the future, I'll have something.
Got to get environmental conditioning.
You're right. Well, my colleagues, Ryan, this is going to sound really funny. We've been testing a lot of boxers, SACs, S-A-C, sent over like a whole care package. Like it says the best things ever happened to your balls, and it's just super funny. So luckily we're all size medium. So I went to the gym and I gave Ryan Humphreys and Dan and myself some boxers, and he's out in the snow doing a little happy dance today in his boxers. So if you want to see a very fit male jumping in the snow, check out Ryan Humphreys. Yeah, making me happy out there.
Can you describe Quick and the Dead? Because you're going to do it way better than I can.
And, sure. I'll be honest.
Yeah, just the general concept.
The concept. So basically, and this goes back to, Dr. Craig Marker does a fantastic job explaining what HIIT is and what it isn't. So let's start there. HIIT, high intensity interval training. People think they're doing it. It's advertised very often, at gyms, coming to the HIIT class, but really high intensity, you can't sustain it, at least high quality, for more than 15 to 30 seconds. If you're going past that, you're going into what's called the glycolytic state. So there's 3 energy systems basically that you want to spend a lot of time either in the aerobic, hiking around and doing fun stuff, playing with the kids and long, slow duration cardio, fantastic, whatever. Or spend some time in this quick burst of intense, safe motion, hopefully a compound motion. It doesn't have to be a kettlebell swing. It can be a jump. It could be a seal jack or a jumping jack or a plyometric push-up, a box jump, battle ropes, using any of Monkii Dan's awesome fitness tools, right? Just doing something explosively for a short duration of time and then repeating it. This becomes HIIT, high intensity repeat training. And then what Dr. Craig Marker does a great job of explaining is once you get to the point where you cannot demonstrate that same level of intensity, you stop. You stop there because otherwise you're training your mind and your body bad patterns. You're training for failure. You don't want that. Like you're going to go to failure in real life. Like when we're out skiing and mountaineering and stuff, that's when you're going to hit those opportunities for growth. You don't need to push it that hard in the gym, just safely training. So long story longer, 8 to 15 seconds of 8 or 9 out of 10 intensity, and then recover until you get the talk test so you can say at least 2 or 3 sentences coherently, and then you can repeat.
That was a much more concise and clear synopsis than I probably would have been able to do. No, that's what's really, well, I guess when I do it, I'm like, oh yeah, when I read this and then I test it out, it makes perfect sense to me. But I think as a culture and a society, especially in the US, it's like, if we're not laying in a puddle of sweat, just destroyed after every workout, we feel like we're slackers, or at least that's kind of like the messaging that's been given to us, since age, whatever. So it's in listening to Pavel talk on Tim Ferriss, on Joe Rogan show, that's like the total opposite of kind of this focused Russian training system where it's accumulating these good reps, higher volume, but non-exhaustive. So, like, how do we switch the mindset? It's,
that's a great question. How do we? I mean, hopefully by seeing professionals, much more intelligent people than me explaining this, demonstrating it with research, just try it. Try it for 2 weeks. What do you got to lose? I don't want to say any kind of guarantee, but I think you're going to find you don't get as much congestion muscularly. You don't get fatigued. Heck, you might feel more energized. Well, I always do afterwards. It's like a nice cup of coffee. And basically the way I look at training, the way Pavel and all these people look at training is, train intelligently for life outside. And you and I love outdoor recreation, right? I don't want to spend time in the gym. I'd rather be outside with you.
Right.
And hopefully, if you're listening to us or watching this, you would rather be outside doing something with your loved ones or friends as well. And so just keep that in mind, that results are more attractive than entertaining fitness training programs. And it's hard to sell because a lot of people go to or went to a gym at least after work, blow off steam, do a kickboxing class, or do a high intensity interval class, because we've been taught that that's what fitness is. But it's not really true. Like, you could be kind of fit, but then you're neglecting your health. The only time fitness comes before health is in the dictionary. So health first. And the Brett Jones quote.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, he's got nuggets. Every other sentence he says is just like, I'm taking notes. That's perfect.
What's his name again?
Brett Jones.
Brett Jones. Okay.
Yeah, the man, the myth, Brett Jones.
One thing, reading Quick and the Dead, what I kept thinking of is we just shipped Monkii 360s recently, and it's this explosive rotational training device, really. And to me, it was like, oh my gosh, it's just the perfect thing for this type of program where you're doing short, intense, full octane reps with full rests in between and these clusters. So we're working on, I'm actually releasing a new program, hopefully in January. We're going to update the app, but probably subsequently do more of like a Quick and the Dead-esque, inspired at least, program. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I've had good success using, I think it was the isocore you sent over, and like explosive chops and stuff like that.
Right.
Push presses or rows. Those work great. And it's funny, when the very first time I went to the course 3.5 years ago for Strong Endurance with Pavel, it was in typical Pavel stoic fashion. You only do these 2 exercises, right? And I was like, I kind of want to tweak it like you. I'm like, I think I want to add some jump squats in there, play around with it. And then I was swapping notes with Craig Marker, and he's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Have you tried it on the Concept 2 rower? Have you tried it on an Echo bike? Have you tried it? Anything where you're just exerting safely and repeating the process and recovering.
Exactly.
Go with it. Yeah, use your tools for sure. They're portable and fantastic and high quality. So yeah, use them up.
What oh, I totally just lost my train of thought. Okay, so one thing that it's always, I think another thing that's hard for folks to kind of follow and understand is like how this explosive short training, how does that translate to endurance?
Yes. Oh, that's a great question. And again, there's way more intelligent people that can explain this in better science and research. But basically, in a nutshell, we're training your engine, the mitochondria. We're making the engine bigger and more efficient. And therefore, you have more capacity to do more things. So.
Okay. Wow. That's it. That's it. I need to refresh on my exercise physiology, but mitochondria are like essentially the machines inside your cells they're making ATP, correct?
Yeah, adenosine tridiphosphate, and then as it releases, there's a whole bunch of chemical reactions. But basically, if you can positively affect that mitochondria and it becomes more resilient and it has more capacity, then you have more capacity to go for a couple more ski runs or go for a longer hike. Life's great. And then also, there's a word for this. I don't want to missay it, but when cells become weak, this kind of training also helps kind of clear out the non-performing cells. It's like myotrophy. I forget. Dead cells go away.
Clear out. Really? Okay. Interesting.
And that's where the health benefit comes from.
Right.
So, there's 2 ways to approach it. There's more than 2 ways, but the basic 2 ways is doing it fasted for health benefits. So if I'm like really wanting to get my heart rate variability maximized, like to 100, or even I've had it higher than 100, which I didn't know was even possible. Yeah, it was like 140. I was like, what? So I must have had a really good night of rest and really good nutrition the last few days before that number. But if that's the goal, health is the goal, I recommend, and Craig Marker recommends fasted. And if you want more of a athletic gains, then eat before you do it, so you can push a little bit harder probably. Right.
I've been doing the morning fasted. It's quick, it's easy. It's 30 minutes max.
Totally.
And, I'm trying to think, and I remember in the book it was morning fasted or afternoon for like peak power and explosiveness. And I remember in college, we always practiced and lifted generally in like that kind of 1 to 4 was typically our training window, which I always felt good. And, in the morning, man, it's like, especially for strength and power, when it's like a first thing in the morning, I think it's like a motivation thing. My nervous system just isn't fired up in the same way. I'd rather just go hike or run or whatever, just that slow, steady state first in the morning, and then afternoon, like bring it from the power speed perspective. So
I like it. And your circadian rhythm better than anybody else, right? It's going to be individualized for sure. But like you, I still get up pretty early. And so if I'm going to do the fasted, I like to be fasted for cognitive benefits too. I know you do a lot of creativity as a business owner. I find if I'm fasted, I can get more work done and more writing. But if I really want to go, lift some heavy stuff and push around pretty fast, I definitely want to have some fuel in the tank.
Oh, for sure. Actually, you know what? You brought up a very good point, because the wild man, he's up in Alaska, Nick Leah, he's a helicopter pilot up there for the Coast Guard. He had a question about intermittent fasting. Cool. Is that something, what's your fasting? How does that fit in your training?
Oh yeah. I accidentally fast. It's just pretty funny. Aside from that macadamia nut, that's the only thing I've had today, and a cup of coffee. You know what? I've gotten in a routine where my last meal is 6 p.m. And it's probably my biggest meal of the day. So I really eat between like 10 and 6 or noon and 6. And it's not intentionally. I just don't have an appetite in the morning anymore, because I know I cognitively perform better when I'm fasted, and I have a lot of work to do, or I get to do a lot of work. So why not do it fasted? If I eat, I become, my theory is that my body starts focusing on processing the food and less cognitive. And so, if I'm going to see family or hang out with the nieces or something, I'll eat with them, have breakfast, and then we'll just be lazy and run around the backyard. But, if I need to get work done, I'll do it fasted.
Sure. I mean, that makes total sense. Just, if you eat a bunch, there's more blood in your gut, versus your head or wherever. So it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I've played around with it. I guess what I've definitely noticed is like, I could wake up early, go for like a really long run or hike or climb, and almost not eat and feel pretty good. But I think for me personally, I think doing the intermittent fasting on a regular basis, like every day, people do like what is it? Usually the 6 and 8, or excuse me, the 8 and 16.
Yeah.
That's 8, pretty standard, right?
Yeah.
8-hour eating window. For me, it's just like, I think I need more food. I think it's just a body type thing. And like, I remember even Brad actually mentioning it on his show. Like, I think I was under fueling with all the activity, so.
Yeah, you're high output kind of guy. You need a lot of food.
Well, I think listening what's working for, like, anecdotally what it might be working for someone, then I definitely believe it's working for them. But if our energy output's different, it's again, it's just an individual thing. I've always felt like nutrition has been it's just an individual journey, and there's certainly foundations to build upon, but I've always been hesitant to give like super specific advice to people, because I really believe it's an individual thing,
100%. I agree with you so much. And, obviously I get hired to help people with this, and it's such a tricky situation because everybody's a little bit different, and we evolve and we change almost day to day. Like there might be a day like today where it's a nice, funny, snowy day. We're not doing a whole bunch of stuff, but if it's you and me, we're outside, we would have probably burnt 4,000 calories climbing a mountain and split boarding, and that's the case. We're going to have a whole bunch of chicken wings or something, right, to refuel. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Well, I think like, I'm not trying to like pump myself up or us up, but I think like the middle of the bell curve of normal activity for most people, especially in the States, is just not even, we're so far on that long tail. It's like, it almost needs its own new data set. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
that's a good point. And especially a lot of people working from home now,
Yeah.
I mean, I see this so much. Like my wife is in HR at a law firm, and she's working full time from home, thank goodness. And I just got her a sit-stand desk, because I made the observation, like she used to go to the, kitchen and get water and talk with people. Now it's just the dogs talking to us. And so, we're trying to like get some kind of routines and movement in. And I can't even imagine what it's like in other people's homes who don't have the resources we do as far as like sit-stand desk or, a proper office setup. I can only imagine there's probably a lot of mental and physical things that are going to come out of this last 8 months that are going to need some addressing for sure.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder, because I ran a gym at Oracle for many years, and people, it was really awesome because you were like the fun guy, you were like the relief. People would come in, blow off steam. It was awesome. Like it was just positive vibes the whole time. But it was like this little safe space people could come to move, stretch, whatever. Because I never, you'd see these magazine articles or whatever. It's like 6 stretches to do at your desk, blah, 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 blah. I never saw people doing that. And there's something about that environment that it's just, you're a product of your environment, right? If you're not in an environment to move, if you're not dressed to move, you're not going to move.
Right.
I wonder if since people are at home now, I wonder if there's like this, I wonder if people are taking advantage of the opportunity to do more like of the micro workout thing, or actually, you know what I mean? Kind of mix it into the day.
That's a great question. Unfortunately, here's an observation. So back in March when this all started happening, I had 2 gyms. One was inside a corporate law firm, like we talked about.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
So that closed because keeping everybody safe. And then my other gym closed too. So in like one day, 80% of the people I got to work with just kind of stopped. Right. And so I reached out to them, and some of them reached out and said, hey, I don't have equipment at home, or I have very limited equipment, but I still want to keep up with activity. So, after this podcast, I get to do a group Zoom class all across the nation with all the employees. And so I'll have like 8 to 15 people on the Zoom, and then I'm like, what do you have today? You have a dog dog squats it is. What do you got? A big old detergent? That's your dumbbell, just getting crafty with people, right?
Right.
It's fun. Like there's days where there's more dogs on the Zoom than there's people. And I love those ones. Our dogs come in too. And it's a lot of fun. But again, like you did, you created a positive outlet for people they look forward to. If people can format their mindset a little bit and realize that they can do this in their living room or their hallway or on their deck in the backyard or in the snow if they want to, they still have that opportunity to compartmentalize and invest in themselves. And hopefully they find a trainer or a program or your app or whatever it is to have structure and accountability. Maybe they can get their neighbor to do it with them virtually, or somebody. Just something to look forward to. I think we all need community now more than ever, for sure.
Right. Oh, absolutely, man. And I was reflecting on this before we started, or before this morning, before we got on. But I was thinking about it. Most of the stuff I do training wise is body weight.
Yeah,
I do a ton of yoga.
Nice.
And then just body weight, like calisthenics type stuff, pull ups, dips, push ups, whatever, squats, squat jumps, lunges, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, maybe I just take for granted like having this kind of bank in my mind, but gosh, man, with YouTube and the internet, it's like there's an infinite amount of resource to use. I think, I think where we've been fortunate is we get to apply our creativity and enjoyment of this particular realm to share with people and, make a living out of it. So
yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fun to be able to like, a scientist of movement in a way,
Yeah. It's so true. I'm going to bring this into, I do have a gym now where I get to still work with people one-on-one and safely and outdoors, which is great. Like last Monday, I think it was snowing here in Denver, and most people are training for ski conditioning or snowboarding. So I'm like, put on your bibs. We're going outside, and we use the isocore and other things, the Monkii bars, and had a good old time. But long story longer, definitely grateful to be able to still help people, because I know a lot of people just kind of shut off and like, this will pass in 2 weeks. This will pass in a month. And then the ones that did not give up and stuck with it are setting what we call pandemic PRs,
Oh yeah.
Because there's a little more access to the kitchen now. You make a nice sandwich or whatever it is to eat because it's just right there. So the excuse of not doing that, maybe you can sleep in an extra half an hour because you don't have a commute probably. So there's an opportunity for greatness here for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. How is I'm trying to think. I haven't really done a formal, I've never done a formal personal training or training session over, virtually. How is that? Like, how do you like it? Do you think it's effective?
Yes. Fortunately, Dan, because you have a nice camera and audio setup, so you're already set up for this in a great way. A lot of trainers don't have the technology background that you and I have, or the tools, or the desire to learn how to do it. So they're just putting their phone up against something, and it's crap. I'll be honest, right? Sure. Not that they are bad trainers. It's just, it's not presenting the best service. And I this is overkill for sure. I have 4 cameras, and I have them set up different places, and I have an HDMI switch, and I've got wireless microphones, and so it's in my experience, a very good service. And I record each one to make sure that if there's anything I can do better, I'm going to do better next time, of course. And so I'll show you the switch. I almost set it up for you. But yeah, I use this to record Pavel's Strong Endurance event and stream it live to like 150 people. Yeah, it's so cool. I'll walk you through this sometime. And I can do picture-in-picture, so I can have your head in here. We can do a little infographic of the new Black Friday drop for the Monkii product, and then go to a video. It's cool. You can do fade to black and cross in, and you can each one has its own microphone channel. It's pretty quick. So that's how I do it. And so I go through Zoom. I have a dedicated, the highest speed internet possible. So it only crashes once every 10 times, which is just how it works, When I was recording Pavel's thing on day 2, it crashed 3 or 4 times. Very embarrassing and very humbling to be like, Pavel, time out. Can you repeat that? No, I will not repeat that. I was definitely on the seat of my pants the whole time. Technology just breaks. That's how it works. But if you can have backup cameras, like the one camera might freeze if I have for more than 4 hours straight. So I'll just pan to a different camera. And then my wife, this is great. You're married too. Like oftentimes they ask, how do we get involved with fitness? And you're like, I'll train you. And it doesn't always happen. Now she works in the law firm. And I'm like, she's my model. So she'll come in here and do the exercises as I'm telling pirate jokes and doing it. So it's been a fun journey for sure. Okay. Through Zoom it works. I have not had good success with the Google or the Microsoft Teams or anything. Okay. But it's definitely doable. And also what I've done for my one-on-one people is I'll record, say a 4 or 5 minute circuit or like the mobility drills, and I'll put it up on YouTube, either unlisted or public if I want to share with people, and then have a link to them like, hey, make sure you do this before the session starts so we can spend majority of the session assessing your movement patterns and or going through the program in real time. Sure. Yeah. Either it's a movement assessment and like program details, or it's like in real time and it's just like it would be in person. Right. So yeah, I think it's pretty effective.
You got to make a tutorial, like your camera set up for you could sell basically a class of how to set up a virtual trainer for virtual trainers.
I will do that today.
I think that's a idea. I feel like there's definitely a market for that because most of my friends are trainers and strength coaches, and they're just not on that level of tech savviness, and I'm certainly not either. So that's something I'd be interested in personally.
I love it. How about we'll do this? We'll do like different price points, like the $300 price point, the $500, the 1,000, and then the bonkers. Right. But the bonkers is because I have a YouTube channel, right? So like I want to make sure the content's good for that. But you don't need the bonkers. I think a wireless microphone, $100 to $200. The wireless Rode is like the standard, and that's the same standard they use on like all YouTube channels. That, and then your iPhone will work just fine, or your iPad, or if you have a camera, you can get something called a capture card for like $60. So right now I'm using a Panasonic camera like you have. You have the G4, right? I have like the G7.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic camera.
Yeah, it's a job done.
Oh, yeah. Your videos are fantastic. So you have an HDMI out port. It goes into the capture card, goes into the computer. And then all of a sudden you went from a webcam to prime lens, bokeh, all the good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, gosh, your video looks really good.
Thanks, man. It already had the tools, right? And so this is like a cheap camera with a cheap prime lens. So this is the $500 option right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your YouTube channel? Just so folks can, on the Monkii side can find it.
Check it out. Yeah. Engearment.com YouTube. And on there, you'll find like a lot of gear reviews. We've been working with outdoor research this week. 11.8 from Sweden, Patagonia, all the Patagonia stuff, the DOS Parka, the new one with Aerogel, Mountain Hardware. And soon splitboarding, very soon. We need more snow, but yeah, a lot of splitboarding stuff in there.
Just on the Monkii side, for those of you guys listening. So Sean, he has a website. It's engearment.com, right? I'll link all this on our side, but engearment.com, he has gear reviews, and the dude goes out and they're testing it. It's not just like they open the package and, this looks nice. He's out there in the wild, in the mountains, testing and using it. So, if you guys are looking for outdoor gear, check them out. They're legit.
I really appreciate it. And I'm very fortunate to do this with people like you, Dan. I mean, we went camping twice in the snow. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I today put up the video of our first Monkii training session, and that was a good powder day too. That was a fun day.
That was still, gosh, that's probably in my top, for sure top 10. It might be top 5 powder days, honestly.
Oh, well, I'm quite honored. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was a great day. So we went, Sean's got his,
It was a good time.
Sean's for those of you that aren't familiar, split boarding is essentially like a snowboard that splits in half and turns into like kind of a ski snowshoe hybrid. So you can like hike up the mountain, snap the board back together, and then you can shred your face off going back down.
Oh, it's so fun. And there's one right there. That one's carbon graphite, actually. I think that was one I was using when we were riding together.
Okay. Yeah, I recognize the
There was the logo. That's an Oz board made in with a wind-powered facility up in Arvada. And those bindings are Spark carbon graphite.
Okay. I'm actually in the market myself, so I'll have to hit you back up.
I worked with Spark R&D for their fitness video a few months back, so I got it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. They make us. They're all handmade in Bozeman, Montana.
Okay, nice. Okay. So back to Quick and the Dead. You how long did you do that protocol?
Oh, I've been doing variations of it since. I have my notes. My my whiteboard is a mirror right here. It was August 1st, 2017. So the day after the seminar, I started.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And you're still doing that today?
Yes.
Okay.
Variations of it, and was kind of fun too. So 3 weeks ago, give or take, we hosted Pavel at our second location of our gym, Project Move, and since the very first Strong Endurance seminar, they've taken a lot of notes and applied things, and so there was more than just these two protocols. These are the two most studied and easy to duplicate, meaning you can do this protocol. So start there. But once you have some time in it, several months in, you can get pretty funky with some stuff like snatch walking and loaded carries and like really fun stuff that it's a fun, because you should and you will progress to a point where it won't be as night and day results. Like you can stay in this forever as like a maintenance program, and I have during split boarding season, because I'm not trying to like peak. I'm just trying to stay in shape and not injured, and it works great for that. But say you're in the off season and you really want to increase your deadlift or increase something, right? You can do a more specialized program. And so I've been doing variations of it for, 3 years and 2 months.
Okay.
And I haven't, every once in a while I will go, and I don't compete. I'm not competitive at all, but I will like hang out with a friend who's a fellow fitness professional and do something like a 500-meter row, just to get an idea where I stand with people. And then the worst one I did was the Echo Bike. You ever done the Echo Bike?
Yes.
Yeah, it's humbling. My friend was like, how fast can you do 10 calories? And I did it in like 11 seconds. And I was happy with the results, but I'm not going to do that again.
There's something, I don't know if it's maybe the way you kind of like have to hunch over a little bit or something on it, but man, that thing there's very few things that jack you up like that. I mean, it's just, I just can't think of, even like doing burpees as fast as you can. I can't think of anything else, honestly.
Yeah. I kind of want to get one for home.
Oh yeah, it'd be perfect for home.
Oh yeah. They're like $800. They'll last forever. Yeah. And for me, the throw is just right. I think I'm not too sure. The throw is not really adjustable, I don't think. So if you're between Dan and I size, it's a good tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like you're quite a bit taller than me.
I don't know, man.
I'm like 5'7.5" on a good day. Little guy.
You're a strong guy. You're a strong guy. There's a bike though that I think for home use is pretty good, and it's like $350. It's the Marcy, and it's metal, and it's got a shoulder throw. And I was testing it out. I did a Q&D session on it, so just all out for like 10 seconds and then resting until top of a minute, and it worked fine for that. So.
Okay. And how did Quick and Dead for you compare to like Simple and Sinister? Like,
oh, good question. I believe I know for sure Pavel redid Simple and Sinister to reflect on the anti-glycolytic training, meaning change the parameters of the timing to allow for more rest. So I liked Simple and Sinister for mechanics. The Turkish get-up is like one of the best exercises that most people don't do, right? Because it takes a lot of time and a lot of learning to do safely and correctly. But you can do it with your shoe or a bottle of water. It's just the pattern that's important, right? And then once you get proficient with that, then you can start loading the pattern. And then swings. I love swings. So yeah, I like Simple Sinister. But as far as like, I think a person, if they're looking at both programs, should probably start with simple and sinister, get the mechanics down, be proficient, and then go for the ballistics, which you can quicken the dead.
For sure, for sure. I should know this, but I remember listening to Pavel talk about, if he was kind of focusing more on weightlifting, like Olympic weightlifting, but does StrongFirst, do they have a book that's more barbell focused or weightlifting focused?
They do. There's a certification called SFL, StrongFirst Lifter.
Yeah.
I went through that last August with Doc Hartle. You would love Doc. He's such an intelligent person. He's got our sense of humor.
Okay.
And, every time he said humorous, he would expect you to laugh, like humorous, that kind of humor. And he loves Metallica. So it focuses on I'll say traditionals, but deadlift, whether conventional or sumo, squatting, Zercher squat. You ever do Zercher squats?
I've tried them a handful of times, but it just killed that flap in my elbow.
Yeah, it's for me it works really well, but for my colleagues like Ryan, he did not like it at all either.
Yeah,
I Zercher squat my dogs all the time. I get under their bellies. And yeah, that's fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, then there's the bench press, and then the military press, and then there's other tools in the toolkit. There's the Hartle plank, which is a hard style plank. So just strong irradiation, for like 10 seconds, and then rest for 5. Which is a really good way to get the core activated. There's the good morning, which is not something you should do really heavily loaded, but it teaches really proper hinging. And there's a few other drills like that, but basically it's the deadlift, the squat, whether front squat, bodybuilding wise, front squat regular, or back squat, or high bar or low bar. So it teaches you all the ones, and you can find out what works best for you and what works best for your clients or students. Okay. So yeah, there's a full-on certification for it.
Okay. What's like their general approach to as far as like loading and reps and sets and like that?
A good question. Even they have a bodyweight program too, the StrongFirst Bodyweight Program. And and that was based off of. Sorry, they're scraping snow. Oh, no worries. Every time I do a podcast, it's either the trash, UPS, or dogs that go crazy. Just how it works. And that one's based off of hollow holds, pistol squats, air lunges, which I think are really fun, kind of like a shrimp squat. And the tactical pull-up, which right here as opposed to close grip right here. And some other really cool tools I think a person, if they're going to do it, this is, and actually Eric Frohardt, retired Navy SEAL, who was the former CEO for StrongFirst, said that in this order too, start with the body weight, go to the kettlebell, and then if you'd like to learn more, go to the barbell one certification.
Right. Yeah, well, I think I'm personally shifting to like, I guess it was kind of like an intuitive journey to like this kind of more micro workout all day concept. And you know what I actually got it from was bow hunting, is where it really clicked, was because I'm up, at least an hour or 2 or 3 before the sun rises, moving all day. You're doing these little kind of micro sprints. You're moving, through timber up and out. You're going through this huge range of motion all day long. There's certainly bouts of high intensity, but the vast majority is, it's zone 1, very aerobic.
Yeah.
It's easy, it's generally easy, but you're just doing it all day long. And I just had this thought like, gosh, this is probably like a really good example of what, evolutionary human movement looked like.
Yeah.
And so it really just, and this was in the last couple of years, I've really started to think about this. So I'm like, how can I like essentially live like a hunter-gatherer in my office with my, IMAX screen, so it's, and listening to Brad's podcast, I think it was with Dude Spellings. He was talking about his micro workout regimen, and the dude was doing like I want to say it was like 300 push-ups a day,
spread
over
out
100 pull-ups, squats, and walking/running, several miles, and it wasn't like a big deal. It was just kind of, he would take these 10-15 minute breaks, and it would just aggregate throughout the day. And what stood out to me the most, and what I've experienced in general, is I just have so much more. I'm not burnt out at the end of the day. I'm tired. I feel good, but I'm not like exhausted like after doing like a CrossFit workout.
Right. You're accomplished.
Exactly. Yeah.
I dig it. And to your point, Brad actually pointed out, is like, you can't not pick up those kettlebells, like throw them around every once in a while. So that's what, like what you do. I'll get it from this, and I'll spend 10, 5-10 minutes and just go through some movements. If not flexible steel drills, mobilizing. If those are done for the day, then I'll do several sets of swings, or I'll knock out some push-ups or something. Just it all adds up, like you said. You actually brought that to my attention last time we talked, and I was like, yeah, that's a fantastic way. And now that most of us are working from home quite a bit more, and if you have access to any of these tools, then why wouldn't you just grease the groove and get some movement in?
Right.
Yeah.
Can you speak to grease the groove as far as like just you're able to package these things in such a concise, digestible statement. Can you talk about grease the groove real quick, just for the monkeys?
I really appreciate that. That was very kind. Greasing the groove. So basically, I think, and I think a lot of people agree, the strength, you already have the strength. It's just like, how do you open up the pathways to let that strength out? Practice, just getting the reps in, right? And those reps don't have to come in order, all in like a half-hour bunch. They can come like 3 here, 5 there, 3 over there. It'll accumulate. And you'll notice like, oh, that pattern is becoming more efficient. That weight is becoming more manageable. And it just, you're greasing the groove like water eroding through the earth or creating a new canyon. You're just greasing this groove until it's almost involuntary. Like, that is my squat pattern. I can load it. That is my hinge pattern. I can load that. The pull-up is not a problem. The pistol squat is just, I can do that and play with the knees. It just becomes part of your pattern by greasing the groove.
And is there an actual like physical change, like in like the myelin sheath or something like that, where it's like you're just improving that electrical current essentially?
I would think so. I can't speak to that, but I'm correct. Yeah.
Okay. I think, gosh, I swear I've heard that. It might have actually been from Pavel, but I do remember hearing something about like, that neuromuscular junction. Essentially, there's a literal physical change from just the myelin sheath around the nerve, just creating a better insulating effect so that nerve transmission is more efficient, I guess.
I like it. I dig it, Monkey Dan.
I don't know if I'm speaking accurately or not, but I think there's something along those lines. So
it sounds good. I like it for sure.
And so for Grease the Groove, we actually did, this was, like in the Wildman Earl, shout out Wildman Earl from Norway.
Yeah, Earl.
Wildman of the North. We did a pull-up thing back in like 2015, and it was kind of Grease the Groove-esque. But I haven't looked into Grease the Groove since then, really. So it's slowly eroded out of my mind because I haven't been greasing that groove. So can you talk about maybe more on like a like practical level what those kind of reps and stuff look like?
Oh, sure. Well, to be totally honest, the technique Grease the Groove has been around for a long time with Pavel. And I got involved with StrongFirst in 2014 or 15. So it was before when I got involved. Okay. And my understanding is when I've heard and learned Grease the Groove has been interwoven with the SFG and SFL and SFB certifications. So not specifically out of like Power to the People or Naked Warrior or other books like that prior to my education with StrongFirst. But basically, my interpretation of Grease to Groove is just you can pick, say it's overhead press, military press. You don't, like I said, don't have to do it all in one set. You could just pick it up and do a couple of presses and then go check on the kid or go get the mail. And then you come back and, oh, there's that kettlebell. Let's go do a couple more. Usually low reps, 3 to 5, right? If the weight's really, really light and you're wanting to practice the pattern, perhaps maybe 10 or more repetitions. But you don't want to go to fatigue, right? Not going to fatigue. And you're not trying to like break a sweat or whatever or work out. You just, I hate to reuse the words Grease to Groove. You're just, refining that pattern.
Right.
You do it often. And it does add up, as you've experienced. It does have a beneficial accomplishing effect without the muscle congestion and, burnout.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and, just thinking about it off the fly is, when like the 1 hour class is kind of, you got to get everything in, and it's a factor of the time. The density of training has to be accomplished in that, whatever time it is. So therefore it's going to be less rest and potentially more fatiguing. But when you have more time and you're also in an environment where you can do these things, that's where I think you can make that jump. I get it where it's like, if you're going to the gym to train, which isn't a bad thing in itself. It's just you have to accomplish what you need to accomplish in that time, in that space. Whereas if you have a home, like it sounds like we do, you know, you can kind of, you can be doing this, you know, all day long essentially. So we are products of our environment in that way. And that's something that's kind of driven our products, as well as, you know, trying to make it easy to fit seamlessly into your life, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's a concept for the listeners and viewers. Go buy Dan's products. They're really, really good products. And then keep them close to you. Keep them out. Don't put them away. Keep them attached to the back of the door or wherever you use them, right? And that way you walk by like, I should probably use the Monkii bar too. It's right there.
Sure.
Just knock out some rows or some curls or some squats or whatever it is. You're going to feel so much better. And it's just right there. Like, make it accessible. Like, Brad did a great job of this. He's like, whatever's around you in your environment, right? That's affecting you. And my wife is like, what is that Japanese, like, spiritual organizer lady? I forget, but Marie Kondo.
Oh, yeah, totally.
She's like that, right? So everything in our home is very intentional, has a purpose and a place. And if it's out of place, we know. So it also creates for like more efficient use of stuff, right? Like if we haven't used something in 6 months, we give it to a friend or donate it. It's not bringing us joy or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, make things accessible and you'll use them, right? Like I always have my gratuity journal right there on my desk.
Oh, nice.
You've been in this journal before.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course. No, I appreciate you. And, you know, just having these kinds of patterns out, and I'm not the best person. I shouldn't be giving this kind of advice because I don't always practice it, but make it accessible and there's a good chance you use it. And if you use it, you'll probably benefit from it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really like, I think the micro work all day concept, I think what's lacking, I think the problem potentially could be for folks is it's just, you know, you can write out like a workout program that you can do just at the gym, for example. It's going to take X amount of time. It's this finite thing. What I've noticed in the micro workout kind of conversation, it's almost too abstract. Like no one's really taken it and created like okay, today, every 50 minutes, you're going to stop what you're doing and do X, Y, Z. You're going to do that for 8 hours. You know what I mean? I think that's just like, you need like that treasure map, you know, that's like every step of the way, you know. I think that would really, really get folks on board. So
let's make it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, you know, pirates earlier. So shit, man, let's
make the pirate map.
On the booty.
Oh, all about the booty. This is a triple entendre. I love it. Dan, we can solve a lot of problems here. This is great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's just, I actually bought, I don't have them with me, they're at my house, but I bought some hourglass timers. Mm-hmm. So I have a 45-minute one and a 15-minute one. The reason being is I wanted a break from technology. Like part of the idea for me was like, I want to get away from the computer, get away from my phone. Mm-hmm. So if I have the hourglass, I don't have another ding going off. The only thing I get is calls and texts. I turn off all notifications, but just this kind of tactile physical thing, this hourglass I can use as a reference for, okay, time for a micro sesh, you know.
I dig that.
Also what I like about the hourglass actually is it's not interruptive. Like you have to notice it, but it's not like this thing that, you know, you're in the middle of something, a conversation like this, whatever, and you hear bing, right? Mm-hmm. The hourglass, I have to notice it. And it kind of gives you that sense of urgency as well. It's like, all right, boom, 45 minutes. I gotta hammer down, get this done. And then you're looking forward to that break. So it's still, I haven't been using it every single day yet, but it's been a process that I've been enjoying so far. That's
really cool and actionable. I like that. I'm gonna ask that for Christmas.
Amazon, baby.
Amazon, exactly. I bought my wife a Apple Watch, and it really helped her for accountability with her mother and some other friends, and they would hold each other accountable. Okay. I got myself because I saw how well it was working for her, and it lasted about 2 days before I took it off and went back to my Sunto, because dings and notifications and this and that. I'm like, I know it. There's some of the dings are like breathe, you know, or do. Right. I could dig that, but I like it a lot better.
For sure.
Sometimes technology is just overkill.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like we used to talk about, you know, I am a big Tim Ferriss fan, but my Monkii partner David and I, we talk about how you can there's like a bell curve to it where you can get to this point of you're trying to optimize so much that you're just optimizing all day long versus like doing things, you know?
That's true. And there's also that paralysis by analysis too. I know a lot of people like have those systems in place, and I see their whiteboard and I'm like, oh my God, where do you even start?
For sure. Yeah, there's certainly a balance, but
Oh, that's really well. You have a big launch coming up here. It's Thanksgiving week, and I want to have two things I definitely want to cover. Is like I'm thankful for a lot of things. I'm thankful for you, Dan. So I definitely want to cover like what we're thankful for, and then I also want to make attention to your big drop on this Friday.
Thanks, man. All right.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Sure. Well, I'm all about giving thanks. God, this year's been crazy, obviously for everybody, right? If there's anything though, I think that we can take away from this is a sense of community is very important. Communication and being open, and also being grateful for the things that we probably took for granted. You know, like seeing an uncovered face, you know, at the store and seeing that person smile, or being able to go to your favorite place, or being able to go visit friends or family. So, gosh, even though this is all crazy and stuff, and I've had 2 gyms close in one day, and you know I've lost friends and family and stuff. There's been some amazing things I'm thankful for, like the opportunities to get to speak with great people like you, Brad Kearns, Dr. Craig Marker, Eric Frohardt, working with Pavel. Are you kidding me? That's like a total picnic moment, you know, like, and Dan John and Pat Flynn. I've had Pat Flynn on like 7 times.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, he's such a great guy to talk with. And he's all about minimalist working out too. He wrote the book on it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I could go on a long list of the people I'm grateful for being on the show. And it's been also cool with companies like Patagonia and Fjallraven and all these companies that kind of went on hold in March like we all did. And then they found ways to safely get back to production and reintroduce things. And like Outdoor Retailer didn't happen this year, which is the biggest event in this hemisphere for seeing what's new and upcoming for gear for all kinds of outdoor, like from, you know, a little bit of hunting, but mostly just like recreational outdoor stuff.
Right.
And so, you know, and a lot of magazines have shut down. A lot of places have closed down. Somehow we've tripled in riders. We're like 35 riders now, which is
wow.
great. Yeah. And a really diverse backgrounds, like men and women, all ages and ethnicities and different places around the world. And so I'm really thankful that, you know, a lot of them have stepped up and started covering topics that I know nothing about. Stand-up paddleboarding, climbing like you do. I don't know anything about climbing. Kids, I don't have kids either. Like, I don't know what it's like to take a kid camping. Well, I've camped with kids, and I know it's not easy. But yeah, I'll stop going on my thankful tangent, but very thankful for a lot of things. And so hopefully that gave you a little bit of time there to think about it.
Oh, yeah, man. No, I'll just say I'm thankful for the Monkees, man. I mean, it's, you know, I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for the Monkees. So,
Yes,
you know, our whole business and foundation has been because Monkees have come back to support us year after year. So thanks, guys.
Monkeys.
Yeah. Man, this is bugging me. I keep like having this thought and then it slips away. I didn't drink enough coffee or something. Oh, here's what I want to do. I want to see if there's I put out an Instagram. I want to see if there's any questions for that folks send in while we're live. Let's see here.
And
let's see here. Okay. Wildman Brock Blades. He says, I've had a tendency to focus too much on one thing. He wants to know how to have a well-rounded training and fitness program. Any
good thoughts? Yeah. Well, what's this one thing he's stuck on, or what's he doing the most of? Do you know?
That's a good question. Yeah, probably monkeying.
Do what you're not doing for sure. It's
right.
easy. I'm guilty of this too. It's easy to gravitate to what you're good at, right? Because everybody likes to feel successful, but man, growth isn't the failure, right? Like I don't know about you, but I fail every day. I try something new where I have a pitch and it just doesn't go anywhere, you know, whatever. And so you learn. So I think for me, like I know I need to do probably more core work, and I know because I'm sitting down a lot more, and so I'll go do something. I'm like, oh, my core, I feel it more than usual. Like, so I need to really do that more. And mobility work, I just recently did flexible steel. You would love it. It's all body weight based, and it's like moving joints into proper range of motion to allow for better movement, not necessarily flexibility, but better movement, and allowing you to perform better and safer. It's good stuff. So for me, I needed to do more of that more often. So I'm creating these short videos, kind of like your pirate map thing. So like something like every hour, you get up for 2 minutes and do the angle mobility drills. The next hour, it's shoulder drills. Next hour, it's the neck drills. That way you've got some constant movement.
Right.
To Brock's question, I think just look in the mirror and see, not to like look at yourself in the mirror, but look in the proverbial mirror and think what is missing and just do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually, my answer is going to be very similar. I started I don't know, it was a little over a month ago maybe, but I've been keeping a daily training journal, which has been, it's so useful to be able to look back and see like, oh, wow, I'm doing this like 5 times a week. Like maybe I need to throw in a little more variety. But yeah, I think as Sean said, it's just I know I personally, and I think most folks tend to do what we're good at. So do what you're not doing.
Yeah, exactly. You will get good and well-rounded.
Right. So what else are you working on? What's next?
Holiday gift guide for Engearment.
Okay.
Every year we launch it the week of Thanksgiving, and it's a cumulative, basically like the best gear of the year for us that we recommend for our family members and friends and readers. Yeah. So it's not just a list. I know there's a ton of lists people just like put together in 15 minutes. No, this has taken us 2 months. We always takes us about 2 months because I collectively pull from all the writers, what are your 2 or 3 favorite things? And then we do a short blurb of it, and then a video of it so you can see it, and then a link to the more detailed 1,000-word write-up so you can learn more about it if you're curious because it might be a big purchase. So we do men's and women's clothing. So we have so many sunglasses, Dan. If you need some sunglasses, I literally have like 12 pairs of sunglasses, like really good ones too. Okay. So boots, shoes, Molecule sent over the air purifier, that big old,
nice.
Yeah. So that review will be up tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So holiday gear guide. And then the website, again, everything breaks. So the website broke about 2 months ago, and so I had to completely rebuild it, which is a blessing and a curse. So now it works better and it's more streamlined, but
okay.
I've been keeping busy with that kind of behind the scenes nerdy stuff.
Okay. Right on, man.
What you've got to fill me in on what's going on with you.
Yeah, let me show you. I'm standing on Stoic right now.
Yes.
Check it out.
That guy. Oh, that is so cool.
This is our one and only prototype, but yeah, so these surfaces, it's all modular. So this balance beam pops off.
Oh, cool.
And these surfaces are removable as well. But yeah, man, it's a real, and actually we're adding a wobble feature. So this screws onto the bottom.
This is super.
On the bottom here.
Yes.
And then it turns into a balance board.
Oh, I love it. And I love the name Stoic too. That's so cool, Dan. I've seen pictures of this on your social media, and I was like, oh my God. And especially a lot of people stand desk, and this is a perfect tool for that.
Yeah, it's like we realized it's basically a gym for your feet. Like that's what it is in a nutshell.
Gym for your feet. I love it.
And it's I stand on it, all day, pretty much every day. And I notice I'm kind of like, it's all subconscious, but I'm doing like little calf raises and playing with my toes and grabbing stuff. And it's just, we literally, to make this, we went down to the river, glued rocks to a piece of plywood and shipped it off. It got 3D scanned. So it's, it's essentially what we made, from real natural surface or materials. So it's, I think it's really cool.
That's super cool. A gym for your feet. I love it. I'll buy one as soon as possible.
Well, I got to send you I need to send you a 360, and then I think you probably need a Stoic as well. So
I do for sure. My wife was intrigued too. Yeah, I'll put that to use immediately.
Yeah, it's one of those things like it's not comfortable, but it's not painful either. It kind of like, if something's too comfortable, then you just like your body just kind of shuts down. It's just uncomfortable enough where you're engaged, if that makes sense. So yeah, and that's what it is. Like we didn't make it to be this like cush standing mat. It's a gym for your feet. You got to be uncomfortable.
I like it. It keeps you active. Yeah,
absolutely.
I dig it.
I remember I wanted to ask you now, and I want to be respectful of your time. Do you need a bounce here at 11?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well let's rock and roll then. Hey, I wanted to ask you, do you do any sort of like specific breath work training, or is that something you're into or explored at all?
You know what? I did look into this. My friend Eric Frohardt, who's been on the show before, he's a bow hunter as well.
Okay.
And he turned me on to the Oxygen Advantage. Have you heard of it?
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I have it on my Kindle. I haven't finished it yet, but
it's really good.
Okay.
I did the audiobook because prior to COVID, I would drive a lot. So audiobooks are how I consume my content. And the author, I think he's Irish, great voice. And it's really cool. Basically, nose breathing, right?
Right.
And there are recommendations, and I don't do this, but taping your mouth shut when you sleep. Now, Eric does that. That's next level. But he's also a retired Navy SEAL sniper, so he's pretty badass.
Right.
Yeah. But basically being cognizant of aware that you're breathing through your nose, right? And at first, a lot of people, myself included, I've got pretty bad allergies. I didn't think I could breathe through my nose, but now that I consciously do that, the cavity feels more clear. It's
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it. And then, like what I just did, I breathed in and I would hold my breath. The opposite of that, you would exhale and then hold your breath. That would be a more true test of your capacity.
Right.
It's really worth checking out. I'd love to get your feedback after you get done with the book.
Sure.
And then there's other ones. There's a Second Wind from StrongFirst, which I've not done, but
Okay.
I did touch on a little bit of the breath work in the Strong Endurance Manual. There's a little bit of stuff in there too, but basically, yeah, breath work. I've just been working on. Do you ever track your heart rate variability?
I do not.
I think you would get a kick out of it.
Okay.
Easy rabbit hole to get down too far, though. I had the Apple Watch, and that was the reason I got it, was to track that. And I got neurotic tracking it every hour. And if it wasn't good, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. You know? And so I forgot that people vary throughout the day. It can't always be good. But it's as you're doing the heart rate variability, it's easy to be really aware of your breath. So you can do like the box breathing, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5. I get up to 6, 6, 6, 6. And that's like 4 or 5 breaths per minute. So you really get efficient. And it really calms things down mentally, and things just working. Your heart rate eventually lowers. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, man. I think I really got into like the nasal only breathing this past winter. I would do Tabatas on the Airdyne.
Oh yeah.
And that it was super. I mean, I couldn't do it actually when I first started. I could do maybe 2 or 3 rounds, which that's what, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. And I couldn't do it. But as I kept trying, I could get farther and farther. And then eventually, the full 8 rounds was no big deal. But I think there was something about doing it with the high intensity that kind of helped maybe speed up that adjustment or something like that. But now it's like almost second nature.
Right.
So it was doing the sprints and the crazy like hyperventilation through the nose. Now it's like, it's like, I read Breath. Is it Breath or Breathe? The James Nestor.
That popped up. Yeah, people recommended that book. I'll look at it.
I can't remember if it's Breath or Breathe, but it's James Nestor. That was really good. And then I Breathing for Warriors. I have Oxygen Advantage, and I've been looking at like Brian McKenzie's stuff, some XBT stuff, and yeah, it's something I'm really interested in. I just have a hard time personally like sitting down doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I can do yoga and focus on the breathing with the movement, but I don't know. I wonder if I have kind of like an ADHD like tendency.
I could see that. You have a lot of good ideas. Yeah.
I wonder if that's like, yeah, I don't know. It's never been like a problem, but I think I definitely, I don't know. I notice my attention shifts rapidly throughout the day. So
I feel you on that.
yeah,
that's why I like being an entrepreneur. So I'm really good. I feel like for like 2 or 3 hours, I can really hyper focus and
yeah.
in one area. Then I'm like, all right, I'm either burnt out or not as effective as I could be. Shift over somewhere else. And
Right.
I have like probably a 4-part day, and it seems to work really, really well that way.
Smart, man. Yeah. I've always thought like with just life in general, like I grew up, my whole life was seasons, right? Whether it was like school and then summer, or like, to me, it was sports really. It's like everything was seasonal, off season, preseason, postseason. And then even work, after college, it was like 5 years basically. Like I was a seasonal, I was a ranger, a firefighter in the summer, and then in the winter would do, various other things. But yeah, man, I think like that, just the crank for 8 hours straight, that's another thing. Like that's not evolutionarily conducive to just the human temperament, I think.
Oh, I'm with you on that. And fortunately, like you and I have like different income streams, right? Like you've created like passive income. And so it's not like time for money necessarily. I still do time for money for sure, but like it's nice to have the ability to positively affect a large audience through teaching and creating content and building devices. I was going to ask you, and I had a lot of respect, like you mentioned, you were a wilderness forest fire for 5 years. And really close to home here in Colorado, we had the worst fire season ever. Like, what is your take on that, and how close did it affect you?
Man, I remember I think I was working out in my garage, and I was walking into our house. We live in Superior now, and we're just up kind of, so you can see like north along the Front Range. And I remember seeing this smoke, and it was like real close. And I kind of did a double take because there were so many fires going on. Seeing the smoke wasn't surprising. It was how close it was that was surprising. And I went in immediately and saw like New Fire, Calwood Fire, just north of Boulder. And man, that thing got close. That was, we were in no danger whatsoever where we were, but it was just like you could see flames essentially from our back porch, that's just a wild situation to be in. And, I think there's a lot of factors that are going into this wildfire season, but I know one reason actually I want to get out of firefighting was because I think the fire suppression just wasn't good for the forest in general. And part of the reason why we're seeing these bigger fires now is because there's essentially been this fuel buildup since, fire suppression started. I want to say it was either post World War I or post World War II, but it's been almost 100 years now. So, and that's why I was drawn more to the wilderness side, where it's interesting just from an agency management practice and policy. Like if a fire starts in the wilderness, they let it burn, or at least, they might suppress some of it, but they'll kind of shepherd it, and they're not just going to go full on frontal attack to put this thing out. Whereas like, if a fire starts closer to in a just kind of a standard forest or BLM land designation, that thing's going out quickly, which, in some cases, like I get it, like structures of people's homes are there. Like I think that's a totally reasonable approach. But, I think there's a lot of politics behind it in the sense of people don't understand like fire's a natural part of the forest ecology and life cycle. And so letting things burn just doesn't look good. Like the optics of it don't look good, so that there's certainly like a political side, but yeah, man, I mean, it made me, I don't miss it. That's for sure. Like sucking smoke all summer is not fun. And, props to the firefighters out there. I still have a bunch of friends that do it, and it's hard ass work. It's super fun. Don't get me wrong. It was like for that time in my life, it was unbelievably fun. The first fire I went on, it was in 2008 in California. This dry lightning storm came through, started like 300 little fires that all kind of coalesced into these huge, multi-thousand, 10, 100,000 acre fires. And I think it was like maybe the second or third day they hand me this like 44 Magnum looking thing that shoots like fire grenades, and told me to climb this mountain and start shooting it off like into the woods. Cause we were burning. We essentially started a fire to stop the fire, which sounds counterintuitive, but really effective. And, I was 23 at the time, and it was just so, it was like,
you got to shoot a gun full of.
It was so much fun, but it definitely wasn't just something I wanted to do forever. But props to the guys and gals out there doing it, because it's hard ass work, and it's full on.
Yeah. Oh, I love your insight. I did not think about that the way you presented. So thank you for turning me on to that. And God, I was checking those fires every day. I was checking it every day because I've never seen anything like it. So Jones Pass got closed, and I was up there camping, and I was like, there's a lot of smoke coming on from somewhere. And then a friend went up to the pass and took a picture. It looked like hell, just fire everywhere, right? And then went to Grand Lake, and then the next day that was on fire. And I'm like, what the hell? And then the Rocky Mountain National Park's on fire. And then Fort Collins, I'm like, what? And then the air quality was just crap. And so I was like, I can't fix the outdoor air quality. So I pitched Molecule. I'm like, can we fix the indoor air quality? And I sent over it.
Nice.
Oh, what a fascinating take on it. And I figured there was some kind of method of using fire to fight fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, especially when they're that big, it's like, you can't, the heat that comes off those, like when it's like a crown fire, like when the whole tree's burning. I mean, you wouldn't believe. First of all, it sounds like a freight train driving through like a dynamite factory. It's just so loud. And then just the heat that comes off, you think you're far away, but man, it's like, it's hot. So yeah, it's just, and there's certainly other factors. Climate change is certainly a factor. The beetle kill here in Colorado is certainly a factor. It's definitely a multifactorial situation across the West, but I think kind of the solution in a way is more fire, or at least we used to actually spend a lot of time. We would go through what they called units, and we'd cut basically younger trees. So we'd cut all these younger trees that were below a certain diameter, make huge piles, and then in the fall we'd go back and burn them. So it was like, you're burning in a generally low consequence situation, typically when there's like weather on the way. That was actually really fun too, because you'd go walk around with like a propane tank on your back and a flamethrower essentially. So you walk over these piles and blast it. And we'd bring hot dogs and brats and a hot lunch. It was fun. It's just what I miss about training regularly as well is like that, like going to work physically. I miss that, and I it would almost be really cool to kind of be able to do like you're doing, like work with people one-on-one directly in physical presence, but then also use that as kind of a laboratory and learning situation to spread the good word of movement and the good word of the wild across the platforms like Zoom, where it's essentially infinitely scalable. So I do miss that. So Monkeys, you want to do some virtual training stuff, let me know. I'd be interested, but also in person.
Dude, that would be fantastic. Yeah. I would like to sign up for one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan knows his stuff for sure. He's a great teacher. And if you need a location, I have 2 gyms we can operate out of outside.
Oh yeah. So what's the deal? So are you guys, the gym is open, you just have to be outside?
We can have up to 10% capacity. So for us, that's like 15, 20 people. And we haven't had any more than 12 since May. So we've been way ahead of it.
Okay. Gosh,
man. And you can go outside. We have a whole outdoor activity. Like we have MoveNet. We have 2 MoveNet setups.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So like real legit setups, right? Okay. And then all the weights you'd ever want. I think we have like 25 barbell. We hosted the barbell certification for StrongFirst.
Oh, nice. Okay. So
we have all the weight, all the stuff. You have the tools. We have the places to hang it up.
Okay. I'd love to come for a sesh, man.
That'd be fun. And meet our crew. They're badasses.
Oh, I believe it. You're hanging out with you.
Thanks, man. I'm lucky to have good company for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. Well, you are. What is it like? You're the sum of your 5 most closest.
Yeah.
Interactions. Isn't that's a thing, right?
Yeah. Choose wisely, people.
Right. Absolutely.
People more intelligent or that drive you to be a better person, and it will, because you are a product of your environment. It will, affect you positively.
Oh hell yeah. I think I used to, the first gym I actually was a coach at was in California. It was actually ran by a gentleman, Hans Florin. He's had the nose speed climbing record, like, I don't know, a dozen times. He traded it back and forth. He's like, he'll break the record with someone like Alex Honnold, and then Alex Honnold will team up with like Tommy Caldwell and break it, So but Hans is the man. But the gym was 100% outside. We had a storage container with all the equipment, and then just a little covered area. But we would train rain or shine, cold, hot, whatever. And there was something, I think there's definitely something to that of like getting that the environmental conditioning, man. I really think there's like, just throughout the year, like, you spend you're outside all the time. So you get the hot, you get the cold, you get the rain, the snow. Like there's just gotta be something there that, it's hard to like measure objectively, but it's just, again, I like to think about like what's natural for people.
Well, I second what you're saying. I really believe, and I'm sure we can find some studies and find some people who know the studies of exposure therapy and how it benefits, whether it's hot with a sauna or heat, or with cold, which I love cold. You love cold. You can always dress to the cold. Plus, one of our favorite activities, splitboarding, takes place in the cold. So might as well get used to it. But yeah, you're right. I think training outside, and Dan John talks about this, like his gym, it'll get so cold. He's in Utah. It'll get so cold that he can barely feel his fingers. I'm like, great, get more grip strength right there, And also, you don't want to launch a 32 kilo kettlebell because you hold onto it. But yeah, I think everybody should get more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry, please continue.
Like your stoic mat, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a threshold. Like, get used to that threshold.
Exactly. Well, I hate I have a 2-year-old daughter. She's barefoot all the time. She runs outside on the gravel rocks and she just sprints across. No hesitation, no flinching, nothing. I come up behind her. I'm doing like the the wussy feet, man. It's such a bummer.
It is. Well, do you ever get things stuck in your feet? Like I earth all the time, right? When I'm camping, like every 6 months, I get something stuck in my foot, and I have to pull it out. Or my wife's getting really good at this pulling it. Yeah. So there's a give and a take for sure.
Oh yeah, man. It's just I can't. I heard someone mention that one time, and I really like I like to think about just a human as a natural, like a wild animal, essentially. Like what would be natural? Well, it's probably, who I think was at least a huge influence on that thought is Erwin LaCour.
Oh yeah, I got his book right there. Boom.
Oh, nice, man. Is that his new one?
It is. Yep, it is.
Okay, I need to read that. Monkey Kim, shout out. She highly recommended it. So, I remember I wanted to ask you. I need to start taking notes so I don't forget. Dan John, the man.
Oh yeah, he is so. Because of Pat Flynn, as Pat and I had the best conversations actually off of camera. We just let loose, and he's got an SG, which is that guitar right there, and we're dorks. And he's a great guy. He's like, you should talk to Dan John. I was like, I can talk to Dan John. And then next day, next week or the week after, I had Dan John on. So hopefully before Christmas, I have Dan John on again. He's a hoot. He is so fun. And for you out there, if you don't know who Dan John is, if you've ever done a goblet squat or a farmer's carry, Dan John. A lot of things are credited to Dan John. That I'm always learning something new. I'm like, oh, that's a Dan John original.
Yeah. He's like the best strength coach you've never heard of.
Right. Yeah. And he's written for like Men's Health and like all kinds of publications. And he's just a really down to earth person too. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
He's almost like too down to earth and too like pragmatic and like just what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's almost too simple, Yeah.
I couldn't believe I was sitting there talking with him about a bug out bag. Later that night, my car got broken into in my truck, and like $8,000 worth of gear was stolen. And I was like, "Well, I have good insurance, so it all worked out." And that person who took it probably needed more than I did, but and it's just stuff. I mean, we get so much stuff, anyways. But yeah, it's Dan John. I'll try and link you guys up. He is.
I'd love to talk to him, man.
Really good guy.
He what's his? I remember. He has a workout with. I want to say it's like a front rack kettlebell workout where you do squats and then maybe front carries. I can't remember. Do you remember, you know what I'm talking about? There's like a name for it.
The one that comes to mind the most is it's basically a clean, a press, and squat, armor building.
Okay.
And so that one's really good. I think it's like 2 or 3 cleans, a couple presses, and a couple squats. And armor is like pretty much the shoulders to the legs, and it works really well. Actually, in my 11:30 class here, I base off of his 30-30 for 30, which is 30 seconds of a movement, usually body weight, whether it's a dog squat or like a air squat or a plank or Davies or whatever, and 30 seconds of rest. And we do it for 30 minutes. I elongate it to 38, and then So thanks to Dan John for that platform. Okay. Yeah, super simple.
I think his workout. I think it's something. It was like you would do I can't remember how many squats. You'd have 2 kettlebells front rack. Do 10 squats, and then you do like a 50-yard or 50-foot front rack walk. Do it again, like back and forth. I got to look that up. I'm trying to find it and put in the notes. But hey, man, I better let you go if you got a class.
Well, yeah, Dan, always a pleasure. Thank you for doing that Thanksgiving episode, and I'm super excited. I'll have links for your Friday drop for is it the 360?
Yeah, so it's we're dropping at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So that would be 9:59 Mountain, and the rest of the world, you have to do the math. But yeah, we're dropping our Black Friday starting 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, and we've got Monkey Bars 2 Special Edition Adventure Kit. We've got Isocore X, which is rad. Really love that thing. We've got Monkey Merino, which I'm not wearing, but I'm wearing a Merino shirt. We got some Monkey Merino coming.
Yeah. What? Oh, so I meant that.
Yeah, I got you. You got one with your name on that. Don't buy one. And then we're gonna have more discounts on whatnot on 360 barefoot mats, all that stuff. So yeah, it should be good.
Oh, it's awesome. I'll have links below. And I can speak honestly, Monkii products are fantastic and they're portable. In my truck, I've got 2 sets of Monkii bars too, the Isocore. They're fantastic. They work. And it's money well spent with a great family man right there, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Engearment listeners and viewers, hopefully you found this, I know you found this helpful and resourceful. I'll try and put as much show notes below so you can learn more about the quick and the dead, more about Monkii Dan, more about anything we talked about. And again, email us, Dan or me, with questions, and we'll do this again sooner than later because we always have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So
yeah, it's fun, man. I'll try not to forget all my questions next time.
Oh, good. I have 2 pages of notes, and I think I only asked 2 of the questions, so we'll have more to get to next time.
Game up.
I know, right? Me too, every day. All right. Much love to you, Dan, you and your family, and to the Engearment viewers.
Oh, man. Monkii on.
And take care.
Adios.